A vice chair of the Democrat National Committee, who was supposed to be in charge of investigating corruption, was instead caught ripping off taxpayers. Michael Blake's affordable housing unit scandal is just the latest for Bronx Democrats. Blake represents the Bronx in the state legislature and is also a Democrat candidate for New York's 15th congressional district. He previously worked in former President Barack Obama's administration. Blake was previously part of Obama's team in Iowa. And on his own campaign website, Michael Blake quotes former President Obama saying, "We wouldn't be here without Michael Blake." While this is happening, a Bronx state senator, who is also a Democrat, is now under scrutiny for a $200,000 loan that he received from a Long Island dentist. The Democrat then went on to introduce a bill that would have benefited the donor. And we recently covered the suspension of Bronx Democrat Councilman Andy King. Notably, Blake has also been one of the main opponents of efforts to amend New York's controversial bail reform law. In opposition to the state Senate plan to revise the law, Blake said, quote, "I don't need any fake-ass legislators who are allowing fear-mongering to try to go after our people." Daily Caller adds that the DNC vice chair drew headlines in November of 2019 after he demanded that Fox News fire host Tucker Carlson, a co-founder of the Daily Caller. Blake interrupted his own interview on the network to demand why Carlson has a job here in the first place. New York Post article further explains this new scandal with Michael Blake. Records uncovered by Cranes New York shows that Blake is taking advantage of a government-subsidized condo intended for moderate-income residents. This when the Bronx Democrat sits on an assembly committee tasked with investigating corruption in the affordable housing program. They found that Blake's income is too high to qualify for the unit, and he has sublet it for 7 years, despite requirements that it be owner-occupied and not sublet for more than 2 years out of every consecutive 5-year period. The Post also points out that this is not the first time that Blake has skirted government rules. Last year, Cranes reported that he collected legislative per diem payments for days that he was not in Albany attending session. Plus, he charged taxpayers for travel costs to attend a legislative meeting in D.C. when his social media account showed him in Atlanta. New York Post article closes off saying this is another blot on the Democrat National Committee where he's a vice chair. He also owes thousands in back taxes and is now facing investigations by multiple state and city agencies. Maybe some of those probes will finish up before June's Democrat primary, where he's on the ballot for a House seat. Another article back from October highlights Michael Blake's hypocrisy. While he wants to raise taxes for everyone else, he refuses to pay his own. He owes over $25,000 in back taxes. Even though Blake himself owes $25,000 to the state and feds, the tax-loving lawmaker in 2019 co-sponsored a bill calling for a new tax on businesses engaged in sales of tangible personal property. As a vice chairman of the state Black, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and Asian Legislative Caucus, he signed on to a report calling for other increases. He has demanded transparency and oversight of President Trump's tax returns on Twitter. Blake revealed his own tax debts in a federal financial disclosure report he was required to file in May as a congressional candidate. The report listed between $10,000 and $15,000 in New York state income tax debt and between $15,000 and $50,000 in unspecified federal tax debt. They add that the tax troubles come even as the lawmaker is flush with cash. Blake, along with all his colleagues in Albany, recently received a significant pay raise, with base salaries for senators and assemblymen rising from $79,500 to $110,000 this year, with additional increases coming in 2020 and 2021. In addition to his assembly salary, Blake pays the bills with a laundry list of outside consulting gigs. This year and last, he pocketed $84,000 for serving as an honorary co-chairman of the New Leaders Council and more than $17,000 serving as vice president of engagement at a consulting firm. Over the years, Blake pocketed tens of thousands of dollars for outside work, including at the political consulting firm Hilltop, a political party in Bermuda, and, believe it or not, a U.S. debt collection agency. Probably not surprising to many that Michael Blake replaced another corrupt Democrat, Eric Stevenson, who was convicted for bribery. Then, when Michael Blake ran for the seat, there were questions as to whether the ex-Obama operative even lived in New York long enough to qualify for the race. A 2018 tweet from Michael Blake says, "Happy birthday, Big Brother President Barack Obama." Blake then thanks Obama for training him on how to run campaigns and talking to him about visionary service. Again, interesting how many other Bronx Democrats have been caught in corruption scandals recently. Another update following the suspension of Bronx Councilman, Democrat Andy King. Now his wife has been demoted. Healthcare Union says they may remove Councilman Andy King's wife off its board of directors because he used his position to boost her business interests after she was already suspended and demoted by the influential union where she still works. And again, this suspicious $200,000 loan to Bronx State Senator Louis Sepulveda, another Democrat who actually sponsored this controversial green light law allowing illegal immigrants to obtain driver's licenses in New York while prohibiting DMV agencies across the state from sharing criminal records with border officials. Attempting to justify this move, the Democrat state senator claimed, quote, "This is a major step forward for all New Yorkers as we keep building New York to live up to its full potential of equity, opportunity, and justice. We also look forward to the significant economic and safety benefits the law will bring to communities across our state." So, regarding this latest controversy with State Senator Sepulveda, this $200,000 loan to Sepulveda is now under scrutiny by the State Board of Elections because it wasn't paid back 5 months after the race, violating a state law that requires loans to be paid before an election. Meanwhile, just 2 months after winning the special election, the senator introduced the first of 2 bills he has drafted that, had they passed, could have benefited the dentist who gave him this loan. One government accountability group says, quote, "The senator has received an illegal contribution by not paying back a $200,000 loan by election day, and now it appears he has introduced legislation that would benefit the very dentist who loaned him the cash. This is exactly why we need lower contribution limits and stronger election law enforcement in New York State to prevent the perception of favors for large donations." Again, very interesting, the timing with all these controversies on Bronx Democrats. Is it possible that this probe could force Michael Blake out of the House race in the Bronx? And what about these other corrupt Bronx Democrats? Will there be more consequences for Andy King and his wife? Please leave a comment and tell me what you think about this latest update. If you could give this video a thumbs up, click the like button, that's greatly appreciated, and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Also, down in the video description are links to my Patreon and PayPal accounts where you can support this channel directly, patreon.com/realityreader or paypal.me/realityreader. Thank you once more, everybody that has been sharing these videos and sharing the channel with others to help get the information out there. I will follow up soon. Thank you.